It is so overwhelming in here with our garage. It's just don't know what to do. Don't know where to start. I am a obviously pack rat. Half this junk I don't really need. This was my grandparents' house, which was built in 1953. I think we still had the building permit actually. So here goes one of this was the addition. So this part was added on in 1982. Original part of the house was built in 1952, 53 area. Bought these, man, 4 years ago because we were going to do a little project around the, a little craft project for Christmas. Didn't do it. Not gonna throw them away though. Last year, this thing's worth prime dollar. Should have sold them then. It was gonna be this really cool, and I'll still do it one of these days. Kind of staggered Christmas tree, wooden Christmas tree that we were gonna put out front. So, still can do it. But when I do that project, I've already got the stain for it. Just need to do it. As always. I have a Kubota cooler. I don't use coolers. Never in my life. Not since 2003 when I worked for Ready Mix Concrete Company. I used to keep a cooler in the back of the truck, take around the customers' waters, Gatorade, stuff like that. But I'm not gonna turn down free. I tell you that right now, I don't turn down free. And that's free. It's work. They were like, hey, you can have it. I was like, heck yeah, I'm gonna take it. It's $100. It's like giving me money. It snows, according to my Facebook memories, once every few years. But I bought that from Ace Hardware right before they closed. I remember it distinctly. They were calling for quite a few inches that day, or that next day. So went over there, bought it. It was the last one they had in stock. This guy's from Pennsylvania, somewhere like New Jersey. Lived across the river in a nice neighborhood. And he's like, man, I'll buy that thing from you. It was like, I forgot what it was. It was $20 or something like that. And he offered me more money. I should have been smart taking the money. But I was like, no, you ain't buying this thing from me. I was just, didn't want to lose because I won the shovel. I won the shovel that I've only used twice in, they closed, let's see, at least 6 years ago when my little girl was born. So, but I've got it just in case we ever need it. I'm not going to spend that money twice. I think I see a problem there. All right, let's take a little break. Lighting's real bad in here, but who cares? You're not here to look at me. Little paint issue back there. Don't know what's going on. I will show you one thing. Two things, actually. That was not intentional. Right there. But that does look kind of cool. You know? Looks like a little mountainscape, but whatever. Once again, I have zero need for this, but out of high school, worked part-time for DOT and went off to college. They told me to take some time off, came back, ended up going full-time, loved it. God, I love DOT work, loved it. Really wanted to make my career there. And I'm still regretful, to be honest, to be completely honest. I still have actually talked back to some guys about it because there was a certain job. I wanted to be a county maintenance engineer. That's my dream job. Still is my dream job. Oh, don't show the hair. But I actually did design, local roadway design. And this was in my office. And it was so cool. And so I don't get rid of it because it reminds me of that time and that's how it is. But hey, so let's focus on some Kubota stuff. So you're ready to make that purchase. You've watched all the videos online. You've seen Neil Messick talk about a tractor. Look, when guys come in, when I was in the tractor world, they came in knowing just as much as I did. Not true, but still, customers are very well educated now, but they don't know the finance side. So let me help you out with this. So when you come in there, you can do as a personal. If you're buying a Kubota product and you're putting it under your personal name, personal credit line, you can go online to KubotaUSA.com. There's a link up there where you can go in there and fill out everything. I don't want to say pre-approval. I can't recall if they do that or not. It's not pre-approval. It's just pre-filling out. So that way you sit there and kind of expedite the process. It's really, man, doing a credit app or filling it out, typing it up online is a very short process. It takes me 10 minutes to go through it all. There's no paperwork really involved to it. Hey, right there, there's one page you have to sign something just so we have it on file that you're actually doing it. But when it's all said and done with, it's a really short process, and it's very quick to hear back from Kubota. I mean, they're a little bit slow nowadays, but under 30 minutes. I mean, if it takes over 30 minutes, then you've got something on your credit that you're trying to, that you're not telling somebody. For the most part, not always, but let's be honest. Be honest. If you walk in there, just be honest to the sales guy. We kind of already know sometimes by the way that you talk. If you sit there and start talking strong, and you're just like in poker, you're probably kind of weak. But you can tell that some guys walk in there, they're not concerned whatsoever. They know they're getting approved because they know what they make. And they don't always tell us the truth about how much money they make too. They just put down an amount, which is pretty strong, if you're making 100 grand, but in reality, you just don't want to tell us how much you're making. You're probably making a couple $100 grand or whatever it is, and you just don't want to tell us. Cool, man. It's all right. But so you're gonna fill that out online. Come in. You have to have an app number so that it can be pulled up. Have to tell us your social security number for us to plug it in. You're gonna have to bring your driver's license. We're gonna see your photo ID. Double check everything matches. Here goes something critical though. Two things about your credit. Two things about your driver's license. Number one, it has to be current. If it's expired, you have to do something about that. Kubota Credit, if we submit it to them, they will reject the credit application and the funding for it. Even if you've already pulled out the lot, thinking you have it. Nothing's officially, there's some stuff that takes behind the scenes a little while. So it's not officially done. You just signed everything. But there still can be recourse coming back onto it. Your things has to be signed. Your driver's license has to be accurate. So if it's expired even by a day, you need to go get that fixed, get a temporary license, get something, and then bring it to us. And this really happens with older, mainly it always happens with guys who are like on into their 70s or whatever, their license expired, they just don't think about it, they don't care anymore, or either stop driving. You still have to have some type of valid current ID. There's probably some other forms, and if you are, if you're in the country but your license or documentation is outside of the country, you still can, as long as you have your passport, if you have whatever your work identification, you still can buy a piece of equipment. I've had that happen a few times. Same guy's bought multiple pieces, not a problem. It just has to show, you just have to, and you already know that. If you're sitting there going through it, you know the process. And your address has to match. So if you've recently moved, what's going to go on that credit app is what's on your driver's license. So if you recently moved and have not updated your driver's license, that's going to be an issue. One issue is that the mail is going to go to that other address. So you need to take care of that. You don't have to, that needs to be resolved. Just make things simple. Get your stuff in, this is a financial You know, this is a transaction. When you're dealing with a multi-billion-dollar corporation, you have the responsibility to come in with your stuff done properly. They're not just giving you free money. I know guys come in there and act like it's just, you know, if I'm approved, then I'm just going to take it like it's free. It's not. You got to pay it back and then some. So, but if you have bad credit, let's go to this scenario. You come in and you know you got some blemishes up there. One thing Kubota cannot stand is slow paying. I mean, that's a big thing. If you're a slow payer, they'll approve you, but you have to have more out of pocket now. Like I said, you got to come in there 25% down, 10%, 5% really doesn't make a dent. It helps, but when it's all said and done with, Kubota wants to see 20+%. If you can come out of pocket that way up front, then, you know, that helps whatever little spreadsheet they have down in Texas. It gets approved a lot easier. And if you have no history, if you've always been a cash dealer or cash buyer, or if you've had some stuff happen to your life, divorces happen, everybody understands that. But if you can show that you have assets worth 50% or more, at least in my experience, this is what's come back from them, is if you can show 401k RA or bank assets of what is 50% or greater of assets, then they will approve you. You know, they just want to see that, yes, they understand that you might be just buying out stuff, straight cash, homie. But you kind of have to have, I mean, you're going to them to ask them for money. They're not coming to you to ask you to buy the machine, okay? So you kind of have to take it upon yourselves to do what they require, not what you just want to do. You got to do what they want you to do. All right, so for the commercial guys, let's change it up. Let's look at a Christmas tree that I shouldn't have up. For the commercial guys, a few things that y'all need to be aware of. Number one is your company has to be in good standing with your state. So on your Secretary of State search, they're going to pull your name up to make sure it matches exactly. And it has to match exactly. If you have dots and periods in there, they have to be on the credit app. The sales rep has to put them in there exactly like it is. You have to make sure you're filing property as an LLC or or corporation or whatever it might be, sole proprietor. So many different options. A lot of guys don't even know what they're set up as it because they have somebody else doing it, and they're just hurrying up and trying to fill out the credit. They're like, oh, it don't matter. It matters. Every little thing matters because this is a financial transaction. That is a legal tie-in that you're filling out forms that you sign that we have to keep on record for a certain amount of years. So if we get audited, or if you sit there and try to pull a fast one and say, well, I didn't do it, well, here goes the thing that you signed. And you can do that, come on, guys. So that's number one. You need to make sure that you're currently registered in good standing. Number two is likely, over the past couple of years, what I've seen on experience, if you're making less than $500,000 in revenue, you're probably going to have to go out there as a guarantor, okay? And you're going to put your income in there, up there too. So you might have to get a guarantor, but you already, mainly, especially if you're in business for yourself, you kind of already know where you're at. And look, there's some big businesses that require a guarantor up there too. Sometimes it's by default that they ask it. One thing I have noticed, if you are a previous customer, man, that makes life a lot easier. But if you filed, let's say your company bought a couple of tractors or machines years ago, however you likely were entered in there, you're going to have to do, if you had a guarantor at that time, then you're probably going to have to do it at this time. I had a company, multi-million-dollar revenue, but because it was filled out, whoever was doing the credit app down in Texas said, the response was that when it comes back, it's like, hey, they had a guarantor before, we need to update a guarantor. They were fine with that because that was nothing new in their world, but don't be surprised if that happens. Once again, it's all about documentation. And even though that the signee, we require, if it's over a certain amount of transaction, if it's over a certain dollar amount, regardless, if it's a check or anything, you have to provide a photo ID anyway. that just goes on record. That proves that you are who you're saying are, that you're the signee, and that there is CYA on our end as a dealer. I'm pretty sure a lot of guys require that. So keep that in mind. Just everybody wants to CYA themselves. Every single, this corporate world, we're moving more and more into that. And when you're dealing with Kubota, which is a $1 billion corporation, conglomerate. I mean, you got remember how big Kubota is. Trust me, they're going to cross their T's, dot their I's. If you're sitting there going through these high growth rates, past couple of years, guys have been expanding really, really fast. Kubota doesn't, on both of you, you never had to, you don't have to submit a pay stub or nothing like that. We don't have to see your P&L on the commercial. You just have to report it to us. Kubota knows this crap. I don't know how they know it. There's reporting agencies out there they tap into. They know if you're lying or not. But if you're sitting there going on a spiel, because we've had it happen a couple of times before, guy comes over, finally buys a Kubota excavator, and then, oh man, I love it. I need this one, I need this one. If you start buying up a fleet of machines, and you can get a multi-unit discount, by the way. But if you start buying a fleet, Kubota will then say, pause. We need to see the past 2 years of P&L and some other documentation. But you already know that because you're a good company and you have an accountant or somebody, a bookkeeper. You know this stuff. Kubota's going to be the same way. And then they will establish a credit line to you. And then you can go on and do whatever you want, all right? But if you start buying up really quickly, then Kubota's going to say, hit the pause button. That credit app is, we need to view you as a different type of customer. Let's submit to us, let us look at what you're doing, and then we will establish some little magic credit line that they actually, sometimes they will tell the sales rep what you're qualified for, sometimes they don't. I've had it to where it's kind of a close thing, where they sit there and respond back, and the notes is where, all right, customer has met their maximum credit line. I've seen that note multiple times when it's a commercial guy, he's buying a machine, da-da-da-da-da. And unfortunately, what that same guy does is 3 months down the road, he comes back and says, hey, I said, man, you just tapped it out. I said, yeah, but let's try again. All right. I'll try anything, buddy. I'm here for you. When you're doing the credit application, it includes your taxes. Your payment's going to include taxes and everything like that. And let me just go on a tangent right quick about taxes. So I live in North Carolina. Each state varies from 6.75 to 7%. There's probably a 7.25 somewhere. But Virginia's got a different tax rate. South Carolina's got you pay a $500 flat fee or something like that. It does not matter where you are from. It matters where the transaction is finalized at, okay? So if you're from South Carolina going across the border, many guys do it. You do not get the same. Now, if we deliver the machine to South Carolina, then we do whatever the end destination is. So if we go down to South Carolina and they're a $500 flat fee, and then you're responsible for the taxes, then that's what we do. When we go up to Virginia, which is unheard of because my territory butts up against the border, then we're going to charge whatever it is in Emporia or wherever the final destination. If you're even within a different county, all right, you got a couple of different tax rates, right? So wherever the final transaction happens, that is where we bill out the taxes. That's how everybody does it, all right? So I got guys calling from Tennessee, especially last year when things were short and we had a machine. They're like, well, I'm from Tennessee. I don't pay but X amount. I don't pay taxes or something like that. Or, sir, that's awesome for you. But if you're going to come here, if you're going to pick it up from us, well, then you're going to pay 7% taxes. That's the end of it. I'm not going to cut a discount. 7% discount on a machine that you don't have, I'm not going to do it. Now, if you want me to sit there and hire a hauler and deliver it to Tennessee, then I 100% will. I will do it. But I'm going to charge you the hauling fee, so you're really not going to end up being beneficial. So, because I believe that Delaware, if I'm not mistaken, has a no sales tax. So I know that's probably an issue around Virginia, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, that area. And actually one of the larger dealers or Kubota dealers is in Delaware. That's probably why. But so if you're buying it from there, wherever you don't, it doesn't matter where you live at, what your tax rate is. It matters where you take possession of it. And some companies take a real hardcore line on it. Like, no, we only deliver within. We don't even deliver outside of our territory. You know, because on a Kubota standpoint from the dealer, we can only sell. Each of us has a territory map, a marketing map, and so we can only do so. We can only, sell so many outside of our territory before we start getting penalized, right? After total sales has to be like less than 10% or something like that. We don't know. We don't do it very often. It is a rare case when we go outside of our map, and some of that has to do with with different competing dealers. It's not that we work together. We don't work together. There's no collusion there, but there is respectful. Hey, that's his area. Go deal with that guy. He's the guy who's going to sit there and service you. Go form the relationship with him. I get that all the time from some guys who we have where I'm at. We have a huge territory, a lot of land, low population, a lot of space though. So a lot of guys will go to the closer one. That's fine, cool, man. If that's who you want to have a relationship with, go ahead and do it, because that matters, especially on the service side. When something goes south, some guys, if they don't see their sticker on it, to be completely honest, it does matter. To me, to us, don't give a crap about it. We will take anybody's service money, right? That is a billable profit center within us as a dealer. But there are some dealers out there about as stupid as you can be who sit there and get all, well, you didn't buy it from us, so you're not priority. Or we're going to sit there and treat you. That's crap. If you find out about that, don't deal with them. Then go across the lines and make that clear so that if somebody asks, so one of our regional guys asking us, well, why are they coming to you so much? Well, because this is a complaint. Complain to them, All right. All right, I got to sit back down. Can't stand no more. Still get tired. But, all right, for insurance, a couple of different things. If you're running that personal line of credit under your own name, yes, you do have your own insurance policy. You can use that, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's usually not advantageous for you. So check it out with your State Farm, with your own independent agent. But one thing I've always heard the response back from customers is that it only limits to your land, to that policy is on for that whatever you own, not transport. Or Kubota insurance, what's called KTAC, covers everything. For a $250 deductible, they cover they cover the machine regardless of where it is, and they cover everything past warranty up to and including stupidity. So if you're out there, you screw that thing up, and it's your fault, well then, all right, submit the claim. That's $250, and I know one customer on a commercial aspect. He bought a KX040. He ended up putting it in the marsh, putting it in salty water. It's a bad story, bad situation, but they ended up got stuck when they were putting in the pier. The guy kept on running the machine while it was submerged somewhat. And so salty water and mud got into the engine because the guy was trying to fight his way out of it instead of just shutting it down right then and there to salvage it. But so it's everything that could have gone wrong went wrong with that whole thing. They ended up, when they were even pulling it out, they ended up breaking some pieces. Well, finally got it back to our yard after our process. And Kubota will pay for certain things. Like in warranty, Kubota does not pay for transport back and forth to the dealer and whatnot. But on a KTAC, on an insurance claim, that is part of it. So they will cover us to get a hauler to go pick it up and bring it back. That's a good thing, because normally it's a damaged machine, you can't operate it or nothing like that. In this situation, the process took a long time to get done, but he ended up getting it totaled and then having a replacement machine. Talking to the customer, Matt, I said, man, I've always heard things about KTAC, good things. What's your description of it? He said, well, the process was long. He said, I wasn't happy with the process, but I was very happy with the outcome. So it took longer than what he needed it to happen because he's a business guy. And he was just, man, I got projects to do. I can't, and Kubota's not going to sit there and pay for a replacement piece. And a lot of guys small dealers don't have any loaner pieces, don't have any anything to give you because there's no inventory. Even if there is inventory, might be able to rent your machine at a fast discount or something like that, but that's a whole different ball game. Anyway, so he ended up getting a check, getting a new machine. Finally got one in for him. It just took me a few weeks. It took me a couple months actually, because we were still running shortages this time last year. But hey man, got him happy, got him taken care of. Because Kubota also views K-Tag as an extension of customer service, as an extension of Kubota Tractor. So it has its own profit center umbrella, but they are there to make you happy also as a Kubota customer, right? And it is expensive. I should have started off right there. It is very expensive, but from guys who I know, they typically tap into it, and it's not like a standard policy. So if you use it, then guess what? You can. It doesn't affect your rates. Like the rates don't go up. You don't get points to it. So if you sit there and use it, then it is what it is. It's a flat. You're just paying a flat fee, flat installment. But for what it costs for 1 month, 1 year, each year that you're financed, you could probably buy your own inland, especially if you're a commercial guy and got an inland marine policy. It's not even close price wise. It's not even. You're going to sit there and pay a couple $100 max to add a machine to your policy. It's not even close to price comparison. But if you're on a personal thing, then you really need to go K-Tag. It's just not beneficial otherwise. Just you make your decisions, but I'm just telling you. It's not perfect, but man, it's good. And I don't get $1. It does not affect my paycheck, not 1 single cent. So I mean, it's not like it's a product that we sell. Kubota, you just have to be. It's a Kubota product that just makes it seamless. So all we do is just click a button, tells us the price, bam. All right, so when you're done paying for the machine, there is no title. I know a lot of guys always ask me, residential guys, personal guys always ask me about a title. There is no title. Now, during the process of while it is being financed, there is a lien on the machine. But there is no title that comes with it. Everything has a serial number to it, so there's documentation to it, but there's no title that's associated with it, just a lien on the machine. Just want to take a quick, hopefully quick, because I'm a long-winded guy, quick few minutes to kind of talk about what the Bota life is. Currently, it's not where I want it to be because it's just starting, and I don't know what the heck I'm doing, but please bear with me while I go through this process. Please like, please subscribe, please share, please follow, please comment. If you ever have any questions or you want a certain topic to look at, because what I envision the Bota life is different than just I don't want to just talk about the product. I'm here to talk about the people behind the product. All right. So when I can hit the road again after I'm done with the release by the doctors and have my driving assessment and can get the okay to go back driving, I will be out there with customers, with people, talking about how they utilize the product and how that can help you as a owner, operator, to learn more about what you can and can't do and learn from other people's experiences. Okay, so that's my goal. For the Bota life is to be about the people, not just the product. There are wonderful guys out there. Number one, Neil Messi. If you ever have a question about the product itself, there is nobody better. I mean, there's a ton of guys, Schulten's brothers and guys up in Canada, huge guys up in Canada also. There's so many guys that just do an amazing product-driven videos on Kubota. That's not me. I mean, I enjoy the product. I don't get to use the product because I just don't need it for our situation. I'm a dad. I'm a husband, 2 kids, 6 and 8 years old. We got a 6/10 of an acre. Got actually a Cub Cadet mower that I borrowed to use. So I don't have land to use the product. So I go out there and talk to those guys. I talk to my customers. I see how they utilize it. And I want to share those stories, how they got started, because If you're like me, you always want to see how other people are doing things. You're curious so you can learn from them. And that's where the Bota life is about. It's not just about the product. Currently, I have to share just about the product, but it is about the people, how they utilize their product. That's the goal of the Bota life. So bear with me as I still recover from the stroke. I'm doing really well, but I'm not 100%. Speech is still a little bit off. Here goes. My handwriting is still terrible. That's upside down, but still. That's my handwriting right now. And it's not that it was much better, but man, this is terrible. So let's please subscribe, follow, do all that stuff, comment, let me know what I can answer for you. Because like I said, I'm not going to be the guy that tells you how to run the machine. That's just not me. Because I just know how to get on the machines and kind of just piddle with. I'm a piddler, but I love the stories of the people. And I want to share the stories of the people. And that's what matters to me, is talking and you know, hopefully entertaining. Not yet, but hopefully that's it. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you around. I need to get a Kubota sign though, don't I? Need to do something.